y'all, Kit here from the Emerald Minecart. Welcome back to another review, and today I'm reviewing episode 11 of Kamen Zeztz. Yeah, the ending of this episode is quite special, but obviously I'm not going to talk about it now because I have some other things to talk about for pros, cons, and mids, which, pros. First off are the fight scenes. Once again, the fight scenes that we have are pretty good, especially with the monster of the week, which is the Mold Nightmare. And I just want to say, like, the second fight between, or the main fight between Kamarazet and Mold Nightmare is absolutely amazing. That's because in the fight scene, the two shrink down, and part of the fight takes place on Kamen Rider Zetz's weapon. Like, because the new capsule that was technically introduced in the previous episode, but because in this episode he uses it, I'm really only talking about this. Yeah, he is able to shrink down and fight the Mold Nightmare, who is also able to shrink down. And the fight on the weapon is really cool. I believe this is the first time where we're seeing the Kamen Rider fight the monster on his own weapon, which is just amazing. I love that. And then the monster shrinks down even more, and like for a second I thought, oh, are we going to get like that scene from the first Ant-Man movie where it's like, oh, one of the previous Ant-Man or Ant-Man shrunk down too much and they died from it. I was thinking that was going to happen, but thankfully it didn't happen, and obviously the only one to die was sadly the Mold Nightmare. Otherwise, I'm sad that the Mold Nightmare is gone because like I really did like his design. But yeah. Honestly, the fight scene was pretty amazing, especially the way how Kara Zeztz got his weapon to shrink down so we could use it. So basically, how the gear works is like you put the capsule in the weapon and you give it a little spin. But because Cover Zets is, well, very small, he can spin it normally. So he gets on top of the capsule and runs on it like a hamster running in a hamster wheel. It's really funny, but also a creative way for him to be able to get his weapon shrunken down so we can use it. Also, in the fight scene, he puts in one of the capsules, the one that lets him like clone himself, and he just summons multiple clones of his weapons to attack the other clones of the Mold Nightmare. It's just, oh my god, I freaking loved this fight scene. I loved it so much. Which, speaking of the weapon, yeah, in this we get to see that the Brick and Buster has a scythe mode. The scythe mode, well, it's a scythe. It's pretty cool. But I will say it is funny when like Kamarazets takes it out of axe mode and puts it in scythe mode. Then it cuts away and we cut back to see that the scythe is now like a fully grown scythe and not like the small axe or small scythe that the actual toy is. I don't know, I just kind of found that funny. Next up is the Wonder Capsule. It is transparent purple, which, again, I just want to say that the darker transparent colors really do look nice. I like them. They give off like a nice, cool vibe. They give off the vibe of like a nice, cool soda. I know that sounds random, but I don't care. But yeah, in the sprite animation for it, once again, pretty good. It's all colors that's shrinking and growing and forming some barrier. I don't know how to describe it. You're just going to have to look it up yourself. But yeah, honestly, the Wonder Captain looks really cool, especially with the purple form. It looks pretty nice. I quite like it. And now finally we have the ending of the episode. So when Nox unlocked the national secret, which it surprisingly wasn't the national secret he was looking for. We see him get this briefcase. And at the end of the episode, he opens a briefcase and we see a driver in the capsule, and he uses the green capsule that he stole from Kamarazets to uh, I wouldn't say revive, but to basically repair it. And we get to look at his driver in capsule, and honestly, for what we see, it looks pretty good. And hell, the teaser for next episode shows his rider form. But I'm not going to talk about it in this episode because we don't really have more looks at it. I think. I don't know. Yeah. Honestly, yeah, I quite enjoyed this episode, but obviously I'm not giving my review because I need to go over my cons and mids. Obviously, I have zero cons because I really loved this episode, and for mids, the music was pretty good. So yeah, that was covers that's episode 11. I give it 7 out of 7 stars, which means it gets an Emerald Seal approval. I really like this episode. I really like the reveal for Kamen Rider, or not Kamen Rider, for Nox's Kamen Rider form. Can't wait to talk about it when episode 12 comes out. So yeah. Yeah, that was it for this review. Make sure you all subscribe and like for more, and I'll see you all later. Peace out, home guards, and goodbye!